Can you change the narcissist in your life that shows up as a liar and as a cheater? Is it actually possible? Is there a way for you to be able to get through to him, to have him understand, hey, this is how you're showing up. This is how you're acting. This is how you're behaving. I want to talk to you today about the possibility of what this actually looks like, because a lot of people think that there is a possibility, and I want to be able to address that. How does this actually look? What are some of the nuances about it? And is it possible? I want to give you a clear understanding of what's feasible and what's not in navigating the type of situations that we're talking about, of being with a toxic, narcissistic person who's also abusive in multiple different ways, in multiple different aspects. When we talk through this aspect of the narcissist and the narcissist trying to change and you trying to have them change, is this actually possible? What does it actually look like? One of the things I want to talk to you about is the illusion of change. Oftentimes, this aspect of something might be changing, something might appear changing, and you hope that this is going to happen, right? It's something that you want to happen. You want this person that you love and you care about to change their behavior because it's toxic, it's abusive, it's hurting you. But the thing is, sometimes narcissists will give this hope of there being a possibility of transformation, of maybe this will happen. Maybe they'll get into therapy, maybe they'll work on themselves, maybe they'll stop lying, and you start to hope that this will stop. Now, it makes sense that you would hope. It makes sense that you would be at this place because you're hoping for a healthier relationship. Like you're hoping to have that connected feeling that you might have had at the very beginning, where he was love bombing you, where he was giving you all the things that you thought that you deserved and that you wanted, all those pieces, and then all of a sudden it changed. So I get it. Like you're wanting a healthy relationship. That is natural. That is normal. The hard part is understanding that with a narcissist, you're hoping for something that oftentimes is future faked, that is pushed out into the future of saying, oh, this will happen, I'll do this, but it never does. But it's natural for you to want to wish this, okay? Now, when we're talking about lying, when we're talking about infidelity, when we're talking about this piece of being unfaithful, you want this back as far as you want a healthy relationship. But I need you to understand the cycle that happens inside the narcissistic behavior, like where this happens over and over and over again. It's different than this happening once, but instead you've been seeing this as a pattern in the relationship. You've been seeing this happen over and over and over again. Now, with a lot of narcissists, it's true, they lie. A lot of narcissists, they cheat. Like that's just status quo in one sense for a lot of toxic narcissistic people out there. That's the frame of reference I come in because that's where I've been. That's who I was. That's how I continued to show up consistently as a liar, as a cheater, over and over and over for multiple years. But this aspect of like, oh, someone wants me to change didn't really do a whole lot for me. Because for me, I wasn't changing for another person and I didn't want to change for another person. I just wanted what I wanted in the moment, regardless of the things that were going around or the consequences that were happening. Now, you might think maybe I can get him to change. Maybe I can have him change certain aspects, or maybe he'll start to realize like how he's coming across. And I get it. You want that. And I'm not putting that down. I'm just saying you need to understand you're dealing with someone who has consistently been a liar in the relationship and is going to keep lying to you in order to keep you stuck. This is what a lot of narcissists will stop doing the work in the relationship when they realize that it doesn't mean they will get you. Doesn't mean they will get you. A lot of times a narcissist will change a lot of different things about them if it still means that the relationship is on the table. For instance, this morning, I got a text from one of the guys that's in one of my programs that's going through this program of uncovering the lies that he believes. There's been a lot of different pieces of it that he's been very excited about. Of like, oh, this is happening. Oh, this is who I am. This is how I've been a liar. These are all the different things that have been going on in my life, et cetera, et cetera. The whole time I'm sitting back and I'm just watching, I'm just like, this isn't going to last. Because I was seeing stuff that was this aspect of quote unquote change, but it was, oh, let me do this because everybody else is doing it. Oh, let me show this because this is what I'm seeing. But I wasn't seeing the daily consistent work. Instead, I was like, I'm pretty sure this guy's lying, but didn't know for sure. Well, till I got the text of like, hey, I'm out. Don't want to do this anymore. And I'm like, makes sense. Because the relationship that he was fighting for was being taken off the table. The things that he was showing up for to quote unquote change was being taken off the table. So there was no end in sight of, oh, this is going to get better if I do these things, if I modify who I am, if I work on these behavioral changes, then I get the prize, then I get to look good, then I get all this kind of stuff. In reality, so many men run away from this. Run away from the truth. Run away from the lies that they believe because they would rather hide and sedate and do all the different things to run away from them than they would confront them. This is the problem that you need to understand is it's not dependent on you. You can't invoke this type of change. You can't invoke this type of evolution in another person for them to dive into themselves and understand what is the truth of the relationship. This is why it's highly unlikely that anything that you do is going to cause them true transformation. You might get them to modify. You might get them to change different pieces. You might get small things to get tweaked. But it's highly unlikely you're going to get them to change. Because this takes an internal working of them putting in the work. Maybe you're at the place today where you're like, I thought I could change him. And so you gave him more love, you gave him more affection, you devoted more time to him, you invested more in the relationship, and you started to change you in order to appear or act or be a certain way so that he would change. Over and over and over again, we see this. But despite all of your efforts, all of the modification of your behavior, he still continued to cheat. He still continued to lie. He still continued to manipulate the situation. Because you have to understand, it's not about you. It's not about what you do in the relationship. It is about the other person not owning up to the truth of what they're actually doing. Does that make sense? Like, if I can help you understand at least a little bit today that it has nothing to do with you in the relationship. It has everything to do with the other person, the toxic person, how he's actually showing up. It has to do with that. And if you could understand that, then it takes away your responsibility of trying to fix this person when you didn't have anything to do with making them this way. They'll tell you opposite. They'll try to confuse you, but it's not true. Okay? This piece of walking through trying to fix or change or modify another person has to come back to you working on you first. You're like, but I want to do that. You work on you first. But I'm the only one. You work on you first. Like, I say this because it is so crucial, because otherwise so many people get into a savior complex, get into an aspect of like, I can fix this person. And I need you to understand right here, right now, you can't do shit. Yeah, I said that. You can't do shit. Because unless that person is willing to be honest, to be vulnerable, to show consistent change, there is nothing you can do that will change this person. They don't live in your realm of reality. They don't live in a world that actually lives by facts. They don't live in a world that actually lives by a moral code saying, hey, I don't want to do this and I'm not going to do this, so I'm going to continue to show up honest. They don't do that. You're like, that seems harsh. Because I need you to hear it. Because I didn't do that and I didn't change for anyone else. Stop looking at my life and being like, oh, what did his wife do to change him? Nothing. You know, the biggest impact of any type of change didn't have anything to do with her. You're like, well, what about when she left? When she left, I was happy. When she left, I was glad. Because then in my mind, I was like, at least I don't look bad, and now I can go do what I want. Do you see that? That's the piece that I need you to understand, is you cannot change another person. And you will spend so much time working on changing another person that you neglect yourself. You neglect working on you. You neglect putting time and effort into you. And as a result, you get to the end of this person that leaves you, that lies to you, that cheats on you. And you're like, I gave everything for this person. Then you realize you gave nothing for yourself. I'm not talking about this piece of being self-absorbed or conceited or like all these different aspects. But I'm talking about you actually investing into you on a day-to-day basis. If you don't, we end up in the same exact place with the next person, with another toxic relationship, with the next thing that happens, because you haven't developed the stamina, the strength, the boundaries, the knowledge of who you are to actually stand firm in that. And someone else sweeps you off your feet, pushes your dreams and hopes to the side, and moves on into their aspect of reality, unwilling to acknowledge yours. You can't change anyone. And you can't change, the narcissist can't change, any human can't change. If they're not willing to be honest, vulnerable, and show consistent change. That consistency, that fight. If you're at the place where you're tired of the cycle that you've been stuck in and you want to break out, I want you to go to escapetoxicity.com today. It's just 7 days. See how it can help impact your life. And then move from there.